I wanted to start, though. A lot of us haven't spoken this last week or so since Omar Barada has gone to Man United. Lots of new policies coming in. Today, the head of... what a title that this guy has, considering our injury list. But our head of rehabilitation and physiotherapy has been sacked. There's a full-scale review going on. But they are, Staffy, starting at Man United by clearing out staff first. Boardroom, sort of senior levels of staff in terms of decision makers. Now they're looking more at the day-to-day running of the club from the medical departments, which has been horrendous, the recruitment team as well. It does feel like Man United have a plan in action. Standards look like they're coming back and they're really starting to clear house. So we're not officially into the sort of Ineos era yet because they haven't been ratified, but lots of moves have already started. Have you been impressed so far with the sort of swiftness and the recruitment at board level by Sir Jim and Jean-Claire Blanc?
I wouldn't say impressed because it takes a lot to impress me, but I would say I'm glad with it because, as I said before, in business in general, usually when owners take over any business, and at the end of the day, this football club is still a business, as much as people like to pretend that it's not, but it is a business, and you need to run a business successfully. When new owners come in, you can see in the simplest of businesses. You could see a restaurant being taken over, and then they always say new ownership. What do? They just change everything around to make it look like it's new. It gives a feel good factor to all the consumers. Not just that, you actually do bring in your own people, and this is what they're doing at United right now. They're trying to identify all the what's been the issue with the club. We haven't been successful for how long? Let's look at all the rotten eggs. Let's clear out the house from top to bottom. And I feel like they're moving slowly until hopefully they reach the head of the snake. And obviously, to me, who's the head of the snake. But listen, it just shows that these people who've been successful at the likes of City and at the likes of Nice and all that, they can come in, and it didn't take them more than a couple of weeks or a month to see what the issues are, what the deficiencies are. And they're slowly getting rid of their people. Whether they're good enough or not, that's not the issue. The issue is that they want to come in and bring in their own people. And this is what we've all been asking for now. I know the Glazers are not gone, but this is the best solution outside of that. If I can't get rid of the Glazers, might as well at least get rid of the Glazers employees. And this is what what they're doing so far. So it's exciting to see. I'm not giving anyone false hope. I'm not giving myself false hope, but it's nice to see something different, and it's going to be refreshing. And hopefully, in the next few years, it does reflect in the overall picture of the club. If we start reaching different types of success, and when I talk about success, I'm not just talking about success on the pitch. Once you start seeing like the salaries going down, the type of recruitment improving, the simple stuff that people usually make up, like, oh, your roof is leaking, so the facilities improve. Oh, no more 1 out of 5 chicken ratings, stuff like that improves. Once you start seeing that in the next 2-3 years, then you'll go back at these days and be like, you know what? When Sir Jim came in and he got rid of such and such, that was the right decision, because eventually you saw the result of it.
You know what? From a rival's perspective, there's good things and bad things to this. Like you said, Staffy, normally when a new ownership come in, they normally make wholesale changes. So from a rival's perspective, this doesn't look good for us because they're getting out all the deadwood in whatever department they need to. The only silver lining in this is that we haven't seen anything on the pitch just yet. Because if this doesn't go to plan and they bring this new regime and all these new staff and it doesn't go to plan, it just prolongs United getting back to where they want to get back to. So it just remains to be seen. I think you and Terry as United fans will admit that until you see success on the pitch, all these new names don't mean nothing as of yet. Obviously, it's nice to see change, but you want to see change on the pitch too.
What I would say to that, Roms, like, look, for looking outside in, the guys they had before were just incompetent guys that didn't know what they were doing when it came to football, right? Now they're bringing in a guy from Man City who's basically won everything there. He was there for a long time. I haven't done much research into the guy, but he was obviously part of, building what Man City have gone on to win. Do you know what I mean? So the absolute bare minimum you could ask for as football fans is people in charge that are just competent. Do you know what I'm saying? Asking for a competent manager that doesn't overcomplicate things as well.
He ran he ran 11 clubs, Don.
There we go.
Since you're saying you didn't
11.
So the
whole City group.
Yeah, at first he started with just City, and then he took over the City group. So he ran I wouldn't say ran, but he helped in running 11 clubs in 7 different continents, which shows me that he went from just like micromanaging one club to macromanaging the whole organization. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is what I'm saying. I'm not excited. This is not guaranteed success for anything, but it's nice when you see people with this type of accomplishments on their resumes being hired by your club. Because the other day, I forgot who's the man that we got rid of that was head of negotiations, something like that. He had a background in accounting, and I'm like, okay, no disrespect, but like, why are you negotiating when he was doing
Yeah.
the accounting? You know what I'm saying? How did you get that promotion to become a negotiator? But when you see
Yeah.
someone with that resume becoming a CEO, to him, that was the next level, anyways. Like, that's a promotion he's trying to get to, but he just got it now in a different club. So it's nice to see that type of accomplishments on someone's resume.
Yeah,
I think that's my overarching point. I think
yeah.
no one can be worse than the Richard Murtaughs and the other guy that you lot got rid of before. What's his name?
Richard
he
Arnold
left-
and
Richard. Yeah, all them guys.
Woodward.
Yeah, like Woodward. You can't get worse than that.
I
You can't get worse than that. Honestly,
you can't. And I have to say, I agree with everything you've said, Staffy. Maybe I'm a little bit more excited because, and I could go and drag the clips out, but I can't be bothered to go back over the years. The amount of shows I've done like this, the amount of spaces I've sat in, where I've stated, even though at times I've said the manager has to go or certain players have to go, I've always said that I'm not that excited about the idea of it because I don't believe we're going to improve as a club until we make seismic change at board level, decision maker level, bring football people into the club. So to see that being the first area they're addressing, although it does feel great, it's not because we're inventing the wheel or discovering fire for the first time. It's more of a sense of finally, at last, we're actually, and I know you said earlier the head of the snake, you're alluding towards Ten Hag. Ten Hag isn't the head of the snake. The head of the snake are the people that employ Ten Hag, gave him all the power, have enabled him to waste money, and haven't made him implement his style of football. The people that have enabled Ten Hag to do all these things is the head of the snake. They are they're the organ grinder, if you want to call them that. They are the most important people to change at a football club. Although it's the managers and the players that often get all the fame and the glory, it's the people behind the scenes that run the club who are hugely integral to the success. And I keep explaining it this way. Your boardroom, your senior people that run your club, they're like your heartbeat. You shouldn't be thinking about your heart during the day. You should be thinking more about the cosmetic elements, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, going to the gym, wearing nice clothes. But if you've got a bad heart, trust me, that's all you're really thinking about. If you've got pain in your chest, you walk up the stairs, you're like, oh my God, your arm's hurting. You don't care about anything else. You're not going to go and get your teeth fixed in Turkey or, a facelift if you need to go and get a heart operation. And Man United's problem is we've had a heart problem for 10 years. We've had heart disease for 10 years, and we're finally addressing it. We're going on a diet. We're eating better food, getting a stint put in, clearing out the arteries. And that way we can genuinely improve ourselves rather than papering over cracks all the time. So for me, this has been a fantastic start. I want a lot more. I want more people in of the caliber that we've gone to so far. But like things going straight into the medical room and saying, right, the people that run this, you've got to go. We've had far too many injuries, far too regularly. You're out of here. The fact we're moving these people on straight away is just beautiful for me. If we were dragging our heels and still keeping people hoping, oh, you've been here 7 years and failing, but we're going to give you 2 more years to come good, it's got to go. And the first policy that we brought into the club under the new ownership is everybody in their role. You've got 1 year to 2 years, depending on how well you perform, to get to the highest standards possible. If you're not delivering, you're out the door. Now, LB said this on our show on Tuesday. He said, although people will say that's a Man City standard, it is now. But it always used to be a Man United standard. We just allowed those standards to slip away. So I'm really impressed with what we're doing. I wanted to ask all a question, though. There are consistent links right now to, predominantly because of Omar Barada, to De Zerbi coming in, because that was who he and a few others earmarked as the long-term replacement of Pep Guardiola. So therefore you're going to get, and it might be a lazy link because Omar really rated him as the guy that could come in and replace Pep. Is that the type of person you think, Kate, could come into Man United and help us at least coast the football at the start of this genuine rebuilding project that we're starting?
It's difficult for me to say on an unbiased opinion because I can't stand the man. He's a good manager, but as a person, I just can't stand his attitude. I don't know if he's got the strength and experience to deal with Manchester United. I would have thought you'd want someone a bit more established, but you know, he's done well at Brighton. There's no denying it, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I can see it. I just don't know if I can see De Zerbi taking over at Manchester United or not. He just doesn't strike me as being the right fit. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't see it myself. I don't know who I see there, but I don't particularly see De Zerbi there.
I think the complete opposite. I think he will actually fit in there. What we know about De Zerbi is he trains his players very hard. An interview came out from Boateng, Kevin Prince Boateng, where he spoke about playing under De Zerbi, and he said he does not miss anything. In training, he works you to the absolute limit. He doesn't take no. He's very strict with his training sessions, so he makes sure he's leaving no stone unturned. I think this is exactly what they need. He needs to come into that place. He needs to train everybody to the highest level to get them to spot out which players ain't ready for it and ain't for going forward, and which players he can stick by and say, you know what, these players are right for us. These players are right for the club. They need to, they can stay here, and I can see them improving to get to that level eventually. But some of the players there, they're not at the level, and he will be the perfect guy to come in, spot them, and be like, yeah, these are the players that need to leave. These are the players that need to stay for you guys, and that can set the right lane for them to follow, or the right road for them to follow in order to reach a higher level. To be honest, for me personally,
do you know what it is with United potentially getting De Zerbi? I agree with Kate in the sense that it's a different pressure at United. I remember, I think Zlatan come out and said, I can't remember word for word, but he rates Ten Hag as a manager, but maybe that step up from Ajax to United, he just can't deal with the pressure. Even though he's gone back to his old club and brought in certain players, it's a complete different level. The only difference with De Zerbi and Ten Hag, though, De Zerbi will have experience managing in the Prem already. So I think that's where he's at an advantage. But I think it would be a good appointment for United. And I do feel like you said, De Zerbi's a bit more ruthless than a Ten Hag. So I think it would actually be a good appointment for United. Yeah. God willing, it doesn't happen.
I think this whole what's happening to Man United right now was legit my worst nightmare. Listen, I think for me, if the owners came in, they started buying players and kept the same people up top, I'd be laughing. I'll be sitting back. I'll be relaxed. I'll be like, okay, then go ahead. We're restarting the cycle again. So you're just buying players and you got shit people up top that don't know how to handle the club. But now that they're going and they're getting rid of people and actually bringing in people that are competent and able to run a football club, it looks like for me they're coming to, or what's the word? They're getting used to to recent times. They're becoming a bit more modern in the way football is now, where you don't have a manager who controls everything. You said that, Tel, in your show many times. You are very Alex Ferguson like. You need a manager that can do everything. He gets the players in, he trains them, he handles every part of aspect of the club. You need to get people who can handle those jobs.
Which is why I think with De Zerbi, he isn't my number one choice, by the way. My number one would be Diego Simeone. That's who I would go for. I think style of football, I think is pretty good. He's at a world-class level, plus he can handle the project. However, if we structure this right, De Zerbi isn't coming in to run Man United. He's coming in to be the head coach, to coach the football. The problem that we've had by doing the Fergie model, and I get dogs abuse from Man United fans for saying this, and I can't fathom, for 10 years, I can't fathom as to why people are not being trained to run football clubs anymore. Fergie went through essentially an apprenticeship in the late 60s, early 70s, through to when he took over Man United, of how to run a football club. Managers used to be the head coach, they used to be the director of football and the technical director, all rolled into one. People are not trained to do that anymore. They are generally, in the last 20 years, every manager that comes through is generally a head coach. Of course, they have an input in other areas, but they're a head coach, essentially. And even when they have the title of manager, they don't run the football club from top to bottom. They're not the most important or powerful person at the football club. It becomes a bit murky when you're as successful as Pep or Klopp because you have a lot of weight and you have a lot of power. But in 2024, the manager shouldn't be the most powerful person at a football club per se, because that's not how they're structured. So that's where I don't worry as much about a De Zerbi, or even if it was whoever the new Ten Hag is coming in this time round, because I believe the structure will be there in a way that he doesn't need to have had the experience per se of being at a club like Man United, because the people helping him run it have been. So that's why I just feel so much more relaxed this time around than every other time we've hired a manager or we've gone through this process of starting again. Because in fact, we've never started again. We've just added layer. KJ's decorating his house at the minute. He's bought a new house and he's decorating it. And he's going through what a lot of people do when they buy their first house, is you start stripping wallpaper and you realize the lazy sods that owned it before you have put wallpaper over wallpaper over wallpaper, and it all starts falling down. The plasterboard falls off, and you're raging because corners have been cut so many times. And that's what Man United, we have cut corners for a decade or more. And we need someone to come in and say, let's not go out and spend £150 million on new players for a new shiny toy. We need, and I'm going to quote Ralph Ragnick, we need open heart surgery first. Then start worrying about getting your teeth done and your hairline sorted.
Harry, this is where it could be potentially worrying from a rival aspect as well. There's this lazy notion that, United will still be the same whilst the Glazers are in charge. And you've alluded to it a lot of times, Terry, over the past years. United can still be successful under Glazers. Why? Because you won Champions Leagues and Prems under them as well. And the fact you're making wholesale changes to your footballing structure, it's not nice to see. Well, that's what Saad said. It's not nice to see. Everything that I didn't want to happen to United is slowly happening. That's why I just hope it doesn't transpire to success on the pitch. I just hope they will come and fail again, but it's not looking that way. It's not looking that way.
Listen, there's a long, long way to go. That there really is, and I'm not getting overly gassed in terms of any predictions about the football side of things. It's just nice to see stuff done in the right order. You know, I'm gonna love my kids no matter what they do, within reason. But I would love my daughter to, you know, find a man, like get an education, get a job, find herself a nice guy, get married, buy a house, and have a kid. It'd be lovely for it to be done in the kind of right order. I'd be so proud. Do you know what I mean? Rather than the way me and my brothers did things. Like sometimes it's nice to just do stuff in the right order. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with that. Viewers, let us know what you think, what you feel about the direction that Manchester United are going in currently.